everyone had a lovely Thanksgiving with your families, yes?
Amen.
I'm sure as you gathered around the table this past week, if your family is like my family, you began with grace before meals, prayer of blessing. Perhaps some of you went around the table and narrated to one another your blessings and your gifts. Perhaps if you didn't do that in spoken word, you did that in your mind and in your heart throughout these last few days. It's likely that those gifts and blessings are on your mind today, the Sunday after Thanksgiving. I was saying to Pastor Bryant this morning, what about those gifts that we don't want? What about those gifts that come to us that we don't want? I remember playing a game as a kid, the hot potato, throwing the potato to one another. My sense of the gifts that we don't want is throw that potato right back to someone else, right? I can think in my life very quickly over the last 6-7 months with Donnie and fourth stage cancer. First of all, who would even think that fourth stage cancer, a woman 54 years old, would be a gift? Certainly not something I would think. She would think. Anyone in this room would think that cancer is a gift. It's a curse, right? It's kind of the reflection of the evil in the world, maybe.
Right.
And yet, over these last 7 months, there have been many opportunities for grace and blessing. And our lives have been in a somersault, but also in a cycle of blessing. And so that's a story very close and personal to me, but I look at our country. So we're going to talk this morning a little bit about the country and where we are, way, way beyond the election. Really don't want to talk about the election this morning. I want to talk about, watch your news programs. You can see it there.
I like that.
But I want to talk about, I want to continue the
Where we are.
I want to continue the conversation that we began when we started these fellowships between Valley Redemptive and St. Francis. Because what we are seeking to accomplish is a gift. But it's not a gift that's universal. It's not a gift that's recognized easily. And in some parts of our country, it's not seen as a gift to be diverse, to be from various places and walks of life and traditions and races and ethnicities, and all the many, many places that we come from. What was it that the most segregated hour,
That's right.
right? The most segregated hour in our country is Sunday morning in church.
Yeah.
So we're going a different direction by our coming together. And do we see that as a gift? I certainly see it as a gift to have been in a relationship with you for the last couple of months, almost a year now.
Yeah. Right.
And yet we both challenge each other. And can we continue even in the center of the challenge, even in the center of the uncomfortableness, the edginess that we each bring, all of us, can we see those things as gifts? Or are the gifts only those things that feel good? Are the gifts only those things that come in glittery bags and wrappings as we approach Christmas and see all those glitter in the stores? Do all the gifts that we cherish, do they have to come in glittering bags? Or can we expand our knowledge and our experience of gifts? And if we do, how does that change our encounter with the world? What do you think?
You know, one of the things I think with that is taking out a microscope, Joe, and for all of us here, as we've said before, these 20, 25 minutes that we share once a month together, we were trying to fine-tune and become more and more real with things that make a difference in our everyday life. So I would listen at that gesture and I would say, what are the advantages as you see it as individuals of Christ? What are the advantages of a diverse family in Jesus Christ? Us here together, St. Francis, VRC. What are some of the advantages? Not just the building, not just the parking, not just the good food. Hey, what happened to the food over there? That wasn't a part of my humor. Yeah, we didn't get our part. We're messing up here. What do you think the advantages are? This is a page in our nation nobody turns to. They talk the page of separation, but we don't ever, before our children and grandchildren, say, what are the Christian advantages for us coming together as a community? Anybody want to go for that? What are the advantages? I figured it would be a tough one. Yes, ma'am.
Well, number one, I think if we were all alike, it'd be very boring. So,
Ooh.
I mean, I really appreciate people because we come from different backgrounds. And when you bring that together, you bring different opinions. And just in the Bible sometimes, I'm in a Bible group, and just with us being there together, we realize that we don't always see it, the passage, the same way. So after your experiences in life, we've got to see things in a different light, but that doesn't mean that it has to clash.
There you go.
It just enriches us.
Wow. I think that's awesome because you think about, well, St. Francis, you don't have problems in life. Well, let's just imagine you do. I know VRC, we have issues in our individual lives and in our church. And so what would happen if we set up a little panel here and we discuss, we put 4 or 5 of those life problems on the screen and we tackled it as a community. Like some of the real things in our face that we deal with, like Joe and I, we talk about the homelessness. We talk about the racial differences in the homeless situation. Let me throw this one out there. I'm going to help you get loosened up. I'm going to throw this one out there. How you doing, my girl? Let me throw this one out there. Let me show you. I've talked to Joe and Sonia about a real interesting thought. And I was talking to them and I said, you know, it'd be nice if there was a book out that talked about brown skin through blue eyes. My wife told me, honey, that's another one. You keep coming up with this, go to work, write the book. But it was brown skin through blue eyes. There's a lot of books out about black is me, you know, the black race. But I said, you know, there should be a book that talks about brown skin through blue eyes to better educate on a solid premise, both sides. I'll give you this little piece of humor. And it's real, but it's kind of funny. It's kind of sad, but it's kind of funny. When I was 15 years old in the backwoods of North Carolina, tobacco farms, I was born in 1955, so that gives you an idea of some of the stuff I saw as a kid in the Deep South. And I remember getting this picture talking brown eyes and white skin. So I remember getting this picture that whites had no problems. Well, you know how I got that picture? I was never around any whites to hear about their problems. When I went to the hospital, guess what? Good Shepherd Hospital was a segregated black hospital. I'm going somewhere. So I got it in my mind, the whites don't get sick. One of my classmates got hit by a school bus. She was also my second cousin. She died, coincidentally. And my daddy allowed me to take the car at 15 years old, no license, to drive into town to go to the funeral home to view the body. I went to the wrong funeral home. I went to a white funeral home. I'd never been in a white funeral home. I'd never seen a deceased white person. I walked into the funeral home, not knowing, just walking, and in front of me was a deceased white person in the casket. Can you imagine? Well, you probably can't imagine what that did for me. I go, no. What is this? Can't be. This absolutely cannot be. I left the funeral home, never cared to find the right funeral home, and went home crying, told my grandmother, I don't understand it. I didn't think whites had problems. She said, boy, you need to sit down and let me talk to you. Now that sounds really bizarre, doesn't it? But do you know, as races, we never try to help each other enough to understand how we see the world through each other's eyes. We're too quick to defend what we see rather than trying to understand it. So Joe, I pose the question again. How would you see the advantage of whites and blacks coming together and any other nationality that might be in here? As we move forward, how could we address each other's storms, and what do you think the advantages would be? I could almost end it because what Sister Keith just said is super. Okay? But anybody else want to take a swing at that? And then Joe. What are the advantages? All right?
Diversity always brings about the exchange of ideas from different viewpoints, as she said. So to me, diversity is always good. I think it's good in our families. It's good in life, in church, and whatever. Even this Thanksgiving, I was telling Karen, we had a very different Thanksgiving dinner. But my sister-in-law is not black, and I love her like she's my sister by another mother, so don't get it wrong. But she was helping us be healthy, and we didn't have any of our regular Thanksgiving food other than turkey. And
I'm just kidding.
but the food, you know, because we're not she said afterwards she couldn't in good conscience serve us all that food, knowing that my brother's pre-diabetic, I have diabetes, so does my daughter, and everyone's in the family, and my daughter-in-law is overweight, so she just felt like it was the right thing to do. And I went with an open mind, knowing when they told me not to bring anything but make gravy, I already knew what was going to happen. And I just prepared myself, and I told her, because I joked a lot, you know, I joked a lot, so I had to call her back, because my daughter, your daughter, I think you were too hard on your pet. So I apologized, and she said it was okay. But the food, and I told her the food was good. It was tasty. It was just different.
Different.
I wasn't expecting that.
We're going to take that different.
But it's a different perspective, a different food, and it didn't hurt us to do that.
Okay.
And it won't hurt us to do it every other year, because every other year. Now we know what to expect from Auntie Pat.
Can I
help us?
That's a great story, because I'm going to put you on the spot, which seems
Do
to be
it. My wife just loves it. She's in the back. She loves it.
Remember when you came to the breakfast a month ago? Our marriage breakfast?
Yes.
And it was great. You came in, and you came in with a couple of your team.
Yeah.
Had breakfast, and I remember you saying, wow, that was a great breakfast. Do I recall correctly that you said you hadn't eaten like that in a while?
Yeah.
And then,
Ever.
Can you narrate that a little bit for us?
I think it was,
your experience?
I have distinctly, walking in the door, I had not developed food expectation in my brain. It was to spend a little time with St. Francis. As I walked over near the counter, and it was various types of quiche. It was like I haven't forgotten. It was 3 or 4 different types of quiche. And I'm scanning the counter thinking, okay, there's some soul food here. And I'm thinking, I gotta get something in my hand. I don't want to hurry up. And they're coming, somebody's coming over. And finally somebody did. They said, oh, here's some quiche. And I go, okay. So I gotta say, But once I sat down and I started eating the quiche, it was different. But guess what? I enjoyed it. Different is a tough fella. He will make you miss a blessing because it's different. And I think the white and black race has missed many blessings because we're just different. So if you come to my house, I will promise to get you something you like. You don't have to eat like I like. My wife's been married to me 30 years. We just celebrated 30 years. And she still will not eat chitlins. Okay. And I'm trying to help her see life a little better than Los Angeles, you know. So that's different.
I'm just going to keep pushing.
I know you are. Hear my wife laughing. She's enjoying you.
That was the generous, kind of calm, homogenized comments. I'm going to push you a little bit.
Do it.
Closer to the edge.
Do it.
Remember when we were talking about bringing our two congregations together for a meal?
Yeah.
Dinner.
Yeah.
Way back.
Yeah.
Like a year ago. And you said, Joe, go slow, go slow. I'm like, what's the big deal? We just got together. Joe, we eat differently. I was like, what? You eat differently? What do you eat? I go to the store.
Beverly, help me.
What would our potluck look like if we brought both congregations together?
I think it should be, St. Francis should bring what you best at. VRC, leave the chitlins at home and you should bring your next best. Okay?
You're avoiding the question.
Well, I think I'm hitting it. Help me. So I think now, because of where we are at, and because of the discussions and the acceptance of accepting us for who we are, and the we on both sides, I think it'd be cool. But I think if we'd have pulled this a month ago, you'd have had me in trouble. You got a hand at the... Yeah, your wife is doing what my wife does. She's got, oh my God, yeah. Go ahead for it. Go, my brother.
I'm from California. I met her 16 years ago on a Halloween party.
Okay.
This guy, she didn't know who I was. I was going out.
Yeah.
She couldn't back to that get together.
I noticed you're standing a nice little distance from her there. So go ahead.
I know my area. Anyway, she didn't like spices at all. Not whatsoever. I'm Latino, French Mexican, might say.
Okay.
I like hot sauce that burn my hair off of it.
Sure.
So I put a little spice here and there. She says, "What's this?" I says, "I don't like it." How can you not like bland food?
Sure.
What's the deal? Well, her dad had ulcerative problems, so she had to eat a lot of bland food. So I continued and said, well, if she can't eat it, what do I want to do? I can't do that kind of food. Well, I'll make what I can. And if she doesn't want that, well, I guess I'll make something different.
Right.
So it's still the same right now. We still can't quite get it together. But
Right.
we make little and the point is, if I do bring my hot sauce in here, as all together in here, who's going to eat it?
Yeah. Get this.
I just came back from Denver for Thanksgiving. None of the host families are all one race.
Okay.
And folks can cook. We have Filipino, Samoan, black, white.
A little louder.
Lots and lots of biracial kids. People that were not black made greens and sweet potatoes, and then they had taquitos, and all of those people can throw down
Okay.
when it comes to food. And Pastor, I make quiche.
There we go. There we go.
I just want to help. I just have one thing to say. It doesn't matter about your color or your religion or anything. Because in heaven, God doesn't see a color.
Amen.
He doesn't see anybody's food, what type of food you like. All I can say is if you don't like what they have to eat, just put your own seasoning on it. God doesn't
I
see
like
any
that.
color.
Okay. Very good. Very good.
So we're so grateful for comments and conversation. I want us to remember this conversation because it went from a place of difference to a place of laughter. And we constantly say to each other that we can do anything together as long as we're patient with one another, as long as we keep a good sense of humor, and as long as we remind each other who we are. And we do that. And we want to spread that out to all of you.
Yeah.
That no matter what challenge that we face together as two congregations, that we retain this sense of humor, this sense of compassion, this sense of generosity, this generous space in which we can get to a place of commonality, a place of rejoicing and diversity, a place of really just being. And there's such tremendous generosity in this room. So I raised that up.
And I would like to say, it seems like we could carry that to our next session next month. But I'd like to, unless Joe has a better idea, I'd like to challenge all of us to coin a phrase how you think America can be blessed by our coming together. Not just physically, but socially, religiously, as a community. Because it's easy to point across country and say what somebody else should be doing. But what can we do to make our country to what we think we want to see our children and grandchildren grow up? What does God want? And so I saw that one kind of get you on a hold. That's cool. So you get an extra month to do that one. Amen. That's good. Homework. That's the word. That's the word. Homework. Yes, you got a hand.
I think it's as important to look at the likeness as well as the diversity.
Wow. 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 Yes, ma'am.
I think we're no big property. So act things the way the pop says, we live in it and negative. Don't mix with history and everything.
Wow. Okay, very good. Very good. Very good.
So I was just going to say that God is not unaware of our relationship on this earth. And he may ask, what did you do to improve things, facilitate?
Right. Okay, very good. I'm going to ask that if Samuel and Megan will think about, not today, I'm not going to put you guys on the spot, but if you would think about capturing these phrases, and in our next month get together, we'll have those 2 or 3 or 4, whatever they were, on the screen, that we can build on them and then trickle down from that as to how we can do things in this community to attribute to that. So if you'll just capture those phrases, maybe somebody, yes, Chambers, if you'll get a notepad, I'm glad you raised your hand, and get with those 2 ladies in the back. If you ladies will share that, how can we capture that?
I'm saying at this point, I'm preaching, I got my job already.
Yeah. Go ahead, Chambers.
No, I was just going to say that I think one of the things that we can do as 2 congregations is pray for the leaders of this country. Whether we're, regardless of your position, that God would like us to pray for our leaders, because God appoints leaders, and that pray that we can live peacefully with one another, and brotherly love and fellowship.
Very good. All right.
We're going to get to worship, right?
Yes, sir, and we'll take a quick minute break, and then we'll be prepared for worship service. Am I right? Whatever. Okay. Very good. Let's do this.